Hi, everyone. I just wanted to come to you for a minute and bring you a message. We just got through the miracle season of Christmas and we're getting ready to step into the new year. We're preparing to make our New Year's resolutions. And I just want to give you some food for thought. And I'm hoping today that I'm going to sort of undo some religious teachings, maybe ideologies that you've had about who Christ is. So today we're going to talk about the beauty of Christ. Okay? Oftentimes we view God the Father in relation to the image that our earthly fathers have portrayed for us. If we have had an abusive father, then we're going to view God the Father as a punishing God. If we've had a father who abandons us and isn't present, then we're going to view the earthly father as just sort of a concept that isn't really active in our daily lives. It's a good notion. But when we've had a good role model of a father, he's active in our lives, he's attentive, he's protective, he's kind, he's strong and gentle, and all of those things rolled into one, and he loves the Lord. And when we've had that kind of role model in our lives, then when we receive the invitation to know God ourselves, it's easy for us to automatically see God for who he really is. God is a loving God. He's kind, he's patient, he's tolerant. He disciplines us, yes, he corrects us. But it's easy to view who he really is when we've already had that example set for us. And that's why it's so important, that fathers and men and women too have had that good role model. It's just truly what our society is missing is the role model of a good father. And so anyway, so we know all these things to be true in going to churches and in our walk and in our relationships and our examples. We know that these things are true about God, that he is a kind and loving father, and that he disciplines and corrects us gently, and he's always there for us to protect. He provides for us, on and on and on. But one thing that's not really talked about a lot in the church, as you know, the role of a father is very heavily discussed. But what's not talked about is the other side of God, the other side of his son, Jesus. Each of us are born with a masculine side and a feminine side. And God the Father himself, he has two hands. One to correct us and discipline us. It's a hand of authority. And the other hand is that hand of comfort, that he loves us. He brings us in closer to him. So his son, everything that Christ saw the Father do, he emulated on the earth. He followed that example himself. And Christ had a very tender and gentle side to him too. And I think that over the years that's sort of gotten lost in exploration of sexuality and all of that sort of thing. Some people have a stronger masculine side, some people have a stronger feminine side, and that gets confused in the whole topic of sexuality, but we're not here to go there today. We're just really here to look at the beauty of Christ, the other side of Christ, the female side of Christ, that hand that's there to comfort. And then we're going to talk about how that fits in to the whole unit in reference to family or church or anything, any kind of relationship that you have like that, in a position of authority. But to look at who Christ is, he's given us a beautiful example in the Bible in Proverbs 31. Many of you are well familiar with this. But just as we view God the Father according to our earthly fathers, and the examples they have set for us in our lives, we also view God the Father and his Son Christ according to the roles that our mothers have set for us as well. Me personally, I'm a Generation X baby. I grew up at a time where feminism had already taken its full swing. Women were out in the workforce. Women were, pulling their weight financially, and were considered. Well, we still have a long way to go with equality and women's rights, but that's another reason I'm here today. But they were out there working and pulling their own weight, and doing things that in former generations the men used to do. So that's where I kind of came in and into this world, and I have a wonderful mother who worked very hard to support me, and that always was embedded in me, good, strong work ethic. However, what sort of lapsed in this whole feminism movement, it sort of kind of took a full swing in the opposite direction to the point of losing sight of what women are created truly to be. In Proverbs 31, it talks about a woman, and she's willing to work with her hands. She seeks wool and flax, and she brings food from afar, and she, gathers, and all of those things are work related. And that's what she wants to do. But if you stop and back up a minute and you think about the things that go on in your daily lives, outside of work, with this whole feminism movement, those things sort of get lost along the way. We're just going to read real quick a good woman. Proverbs 31, verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She's a protector. Okay? Her husband can trust her. Her value is priceless. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like a merchant's ship. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth up also while it is yet night, early in the morning, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. She prepares the meals with love, and she thinks of those who are there to serve her. She considers them, and she prepares them meals as well. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands she plants a vineyard. So she decides where it is, what field it is that family is supposed to reside in. She knows, because she has this knowledge from Christ, from God, from the Holy Spirit. He gives her this knowledge. And with the fruit of her hands, she plants a vineyard. She works on that land. She works the land. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She knows that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She knows that what she has to offer is valuable, and it's good, and it's worthy. And her light doesn't go out by night. She stays strong in her confidence and who she is in the Lord. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches forth her hands to the needy. Okay? She works with her hands, preparing with the spindle, the clothing for her family, whatever is needed. She reaches her hands out to the needy. She doesn't sit idle and watch by. She gets in there and she helps. She is not afraid of the snow for her household are all clothed with scarlet. She's not afraid of hard times. She knows they're going to come, and she's prepared for them. And her household is clothed in scarlet. Scarlet represents royalty. She has put her family first. She has prepared the way for them, and she is not afraid of the hard times or the storms. She expects them. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. She adorns herself in fine clothing. Purple, red a minute ago we talked about. That's the color of passion and love. Royalty, the color of purple. Let me correct myself there. She knows she is royalty in the king's eyes. So she adorns herself in purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. He's noteworthy in the community. Why? Well, because of his deeds, obviously, but she makes sure that his deeds are known. She's proud of him, and she does everything she can to promote his image. She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Whatever your goods are, whatever your wares are, whatever your work is, you know it's good, and you believe in it, and it's fruitful, and it's prosperous. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She knows that she knows that she knows that her work is good, her work is pure, and that the Lord honors her faith, and that she will see whatever it is she's believing in come to pass. And that's the end of it. She opened her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. When she opens her mouth, you need to listen. She's speaking wisdom. She shares her wisdom. She shares her wisdom with the generations behind her. She shares them with the generations ahead of her. She loves to share her wisdom. She doesn't talk about teachings of man or things that other people have taught. She teaches about things she has learned through her walk with God directly. That's the definition of wisdom. And in her tongue is the law of kindness. She has control over her speech. She is careful to think about what she's saying, to make sure it's not going to hurt someone, to make sure it edifies Christ, to make sure it's empowering people. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. She cares for her house, everything in it, everyone in it. It's a reflection of the condition of her heart. Okay? So she takes care of her heart. She takes care of her home. And she's not idle. She's not lazy. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her children honor her. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. If you're a good woman, you will know it. If you're being good to your husband and you're taking care of him, you will know it, because he will praise you. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. And that's the Father God there talking to you right there, women. You have done well. Your faith has made you whole, and you should feel proud of that. You have obeyed God. So that's just a little side prophetic note directly for women there. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. We talk about this time and time again. You know, women are created to be beautiful. Okay? But we know that that's not vanity, that's not arrogance, it's not anything other than we're created to be the gift of beauty. Give her, and it's, well, but a woman that feareth the Lord shall be praised. That's true beauty, that a woman that lives in reverence to Christ, that knows the awesome power of God and his ability to affect everything in her life to get her where she needs to be a Proverbs 31 woman. That is a beautiful woman right there. It's not about the outside. It's not about what you wear. Yes, you want to take care of yourself, but that's not the point. It's about fearing God. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. Well, that's a little directive there to husbands, to men. You need to give her what she needs. She's there to protect your heart. She's there to prepare your home. She's there to protect your children. She's all of these things. So you give her what she needs, and you let her work praise her. Okay? She praises you and your work. Okay? Protecting, providing, whatever that case may be for you in your role. She's there to empower you to do it. Empower her to let her work be praised. Now, how does this relate to parenting and authority? Well, back in the 50s, we had all sorts of ideologies about parenting and discipline, and that has just progressed over time. But what I'm seeing right now in the children of today is a lack of discipline. A lack of structure, a lack of boundaries, and I truly believe it's because the feminism movement has just gone so far that we've lost sight of what it means to be a good mother in the home and what it means to be a good father in the home, and how those two can work together. So if you understand the role of a woman and her place and that authority, then you can give her what she needs to be that authority. You can embrace that gift, okay, and allow her to be that, and the two of you can work together as one. But also in the church, being a female pastor, I've literally been to hell and back trying to answer this call in my life, and I have been hurt more in the church than anywhere, rejected, on and on and on. But the reality is let's talk about women in the church, specifically the role of pastor. Pastor means parent to many. Well, that takes two. That takes a father, and that takes a mother. Okay? And both of those are roles of authority. Sometimes God calls the woman first, and in my case, that's what's happened. And I believe that He is raising that man of God up to join me in ministry as we speak. But it takes two, and that is an equal authority in the church. And so women in the church need to be viewed more as an authority, not as dominant. We've seen a lot of women take feminism to the extreme of becoming completely dominant women, and that's abusive. That's abuse of power, and it's not of God. We need to all work together. We just need to know our role and let each other operate in it, and in that we will see the kingdom of heaven, because that's what it's truly about. That's what we're after, is that oneness in the church. That's going to change our world. Oneness in our families. That's going to change our world. And knowing who you are as an individual so you can stand strong and be joined to the partner that God has for you. So I'm hoping that somewhere along the way, some sort of teaching has fallen off, some ideology has fallen off, some philosophy maybe has fallen off, and you can better understand Christ's feminine side in your life too, and what that feminine nature and that beauty brings to the table. Christ is the most beautiful thing ever. And if we're just looking for the masculine side, we're going to miss his beauty. And it's just something to truly behold. And so I hope that you can take that into your new year and use it how you will. And I know that you're going to be blessed. I know we're coming into just a phenomenal new season this year. So be blessed, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.